You're watching the Forefront Church video podcast, and wherever you're at viewing online, we just want to say thank you and welcome. And one of the ways that we can help connect with you is we want to hear from you and where you're at and how we can help. And so head over to forefrontchurch.info after the message and click the Connect tab. It's a great way for us to help you along your spiritual journey as you connect with God and learn about Jesus. And so sit back, relax. We hope that you're challenged and encouraged from today's message. Everybody on Facebook Live, we are so glad that you are with us today. How are you guys doing this morning? Everybody doing well? Man, I am excited as we only have 2 more weeks, this week and next week, of our series, Church for the City. And I feel like, man, give it up for Dan Pollard, who last week did a phenomenal job, by the way. I'm so thankful that we have other people on staff who are able to get up and share. And so you don't just hear one voice, because we are better together as we learn and as we're growing. And these next 2 weeks are really foundational because it is the heartbeat of Forefront Church. That not to just be a building in a city where people come, sing a few songs and leave, but a church for our city that is about loving others, which is all that we've been learning over the last few weeks. How can we do that? We've been learning from this early church that was in Corinth in Greece, very similar city to us, a coastal city around the same dynamic of types of people and things that were going on culturally. And so, man, we've learned some great things and some not so great things on how to do it well. And somewhere we go, ooh, let's learn from their example and not do that, because that's not okay. And this week is so foundational to your faith, actually, putting legs to that, putting feet to that, and actually walking that out and living that out well, instead of just having a faith that goes, you know what, I'm very reserved, and I'm going to come, and I'm going to sit, and I'm going to learn, which is great, but our faith is called to be lived out, to be put into action, which is why we're going to be diving into this part where Paul, the guy who we've been studying, who started this church that we've been looking at, who wrote this letter back to them, he has some great encouragement, which all of us could use, about what does it mean to go and do just that. And so if you have a Bible, I would love for you to turn over in 1 Corinthians, where we've been, to chapter 9. If you don't have a Bible, great news for you. Not only will it be on the screens here in a moment, but you can pick one up for free after service. Stop by in the lobby area there. You can grab one of those. Or every week, you can go to our forefrontchurch.info page, click on that notes tab, and everything that we're talking about is there today. And so we just use those tools freely because we want to make sure that you have a way to engage faith. You can email those notes back to yourself to be able to kind of remember what you're learning and how you're learning that. And this guy, Paul, that we've been looking at, he was an early church planter, so to speak, going out and starting churches. We take his words and really take them to heart, not only because we find them within the context of the Bible, but he has a great platform as he's gone and started all these churches, because he's like the unlikely hero. He's not the guy that you would normally pick. And I love, yes, Lord, I love being able to learn from people like that. I don't want the person that had everything great and everything was perfect and it was all fine. I love learning from the people that they have a past and God did something in their life and just launched them into a beautiful future. And Paul's this guy. He's the guy that on a resume, you would not pick him to be the guy for your spokesman of stuff. Like if you had a small business and you were trying to sell things, you probably wouldn't hire the person that tried to burn your business down. Like, I would venture to say that. Like, Paul was a guy that before he started churches and started speaking about faith and living it out and doing all, he killed Christians. And so when we jump in and hear from him, we go, wait, if your life has been that drastically changed, I want to hear what you have to say. Because I can understand what it means to live one way and then want to turn towards a way of hope, a way of Jesus. And man, if you can do that, man, I take seriously what you have to encourage me with, which is the very thing that we're jumping into with him. Now, I want to assure you that this is going to be a little confusing, the verses that we're about to read. And so don't give up on it. We're going to get to it. We're going to unpack it a little bit over there in 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and following, and verse 19 and following. You guys good? Half of y'all are ready? The rest of you, you're going to come along for the ride anyway because we're going. And so this is where it starts out in verse 19 and following. It says, though I am free, I belong to no one. And though I am free and belong to no one, I have made myself a slave to everyone to win as many as possible. So to the Jews, I became like a Jew to win the Jews. To those under the law, I became like one under the law. And it kind of says, though I myself am not under the law, so as to win those under the law. I know that's a lot of laws, and we'll move through it. But he continues on, he says, for those not having the law, I became like one not having the law. Though I am not free from God's law, but under Christ's law, so to win those not having the law. Again, lots of laws. We'll get to it. This is where we want to land as we unpack. Verse 22, to the weak, I became weak to win the weak. I have become all things to all people, so that by all possible means I might save some. So the real question as we start unpacking this, what does that mean for all of us? And to be able to really understand this, to get into the law, this and that, and all these pieces, we need to take a virtual trip to our local grocery store. And I say virtual because you guys on Facebook Live, I don't know where you're at, and I'm not driving there. And for you guys that are here, I can't pack all of you into my little hatchback roller skate of a car. Meep, meep. And so we're going to take a virtual trip. And so picture yourself in your grocery store, your local grocery store, and like you know the one. And if you go to a bunch of them, like you should have loyalty to one. Like you should go to that one. I'm just a creature of habit. I go to my one and whatever. And if you do that, what's wrong with you? Go to your one. And so you walk in and you see your grocery store and everything is there and like you know where everything's at unless they change it, and then you freak out and tell the management, like when we move the chairs around in here and people walk in, you move my chair. Well, it doesn't have your name on it. Get over it. Move on. And so you do this at your grocery store, but make your way to the deli section. Not the like fresh deli section. I'm not baller status, neither are you, but like in the cooler deli section of sandwich meat. And you walk up there, and one of the meats that's hanging there, and you guys who have ever been on hard times, you know what meat I'm talking about. It is bologna or bologna. And you see that, and if you were really broke, you remember the little red thing that you had to peel off. And if you don't know that struggle, you have never struggled, okay? And so count yourself as blessed. And so you go up there and you see it, but lo and behold, as you're standing right there at the deli section, you're looking at all the meat, you see an unusual suspect is hanging there next to your bologna. And that is our friend, turkey bologna. Now, and everyone has a collective, ugh. Yeah, because turkey, why are you there? You should have been, I see ham, I see roast beef, you're on your own. No need to try to pretend to be something that you're not. But turkey doesn't stop there, friends. You're standing there in front of deli, and you've slid a little ways over, and you wanted to get yourself some bacon. And lo and behold, turkey has now decided to infiltrate your bacon movement. All right? And they won't even stop there, because even if you've moved a little further for your summer grill out, turkey has decided we're taking over hot dogs. And then you're like, oh no, we're going to get some hamburgers, and it's about to go down. We're opening up the grill. They've got you there too. And they keep moving on, and it just in case you didn't think, you know what, well, maybe it's just my sandwiches and it's just my backyard barbecue. No, they've infiltrated breakfast. And turkey has decided, if you want some sausage, we got links for you. And if you're not a link person, more of a patty, they've got you covered on that too. And then you go, man, well, maybe at least they haven't hit dinner yet. Oh no, don't worry, they have, because you can eat some Italian with some turkey pepperoni. And if you're asking for a little bit more hefty of a meal, they got turkey meatballs lined up for you. Or if you're trying to throw it way back in the day when you were little and you were at school, you can get some turkey corn dogs. And everything's fine. But don't worry, it's getting cold. You can grab some chili and head over to the chili section and grab some chili that's turkey, beans, or no beans, your preference. I don't know where you're feeling in life, but here's where it gets weird. If it hasn't already. You're walking down the snack aisle, and you've decided you just need a little tasty treat to tide you over because it's been a good week, and treat yourself. So you're looking, you see Cheetos, you see Frito-Lay, and lo and behold, you look to the side, and you see that there are Lay's turkey and stuffing chips. I heard that's disgusting. You would be correct. Preach. But if that snack is not enough for you, don't worry. When you get to the checkout aisle, you can head on over and grab yourself some Thanksgiving gumballs in pumpkin pie, turkey, or cranberry. And don't worry, because you can wash that down with a turkey and gravy soda. Now that we're all feeling a little ill, turkey has done something really interesting. Now, we've all had this conversation about pumpkin spice that needs to pump the brakes. But we've walked through this virtual grocery shopping experience, and turkey has done something that none of us are talking about. Covertly, they have taken over the grocery store. Little by little, they said, we are just not good enough at just being turkey by ourselves. For we do not just want to hold the reins on Thanksgiving, we want to be a part of your everyday eating experience. Whether you're eating breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, drinks, gum, you name it, we're there for you. One of the things that I love that turkey is a chameleon, becoming meatballs, chips, or bacon so that it might be eaten. See, the people behind turkey know something that maybe we don't, is that everybody's going to be looking for something, and let's not make a big deal about it, but let's just slide into every area possible to be able to have a stake in what's happening at the table. Here at Forefront, we say it a different way, that we would do anything short of sin to see people meet Jesus. Let's go back to what Paul was talking about to the Corinthians. To the Jews, I became like the Jews so that I might win the Jewish people to faith. And then there were people that aren't under any type of law, that lived life a little bit more openly, that I'm going to go and do what I can and be like them, not go sinning against God, but doing everything I can to appeal to them. And then there's people over here that are feeling weak and downtrodden, and so I'm going to get down and be with them in their weakened state because I want them to know that I am here for them. And then there's other people that are very scholarly, and so I'm going to study and I'm going to learn and I'm going to make sure that I can be able to have conversations with them so that I can share with them what it means to follow Jesus. I'm going to become all things to all people that I might win some. You see, if we're going to be a church for the city, as we've always strived to be, and not just simply a church in the city, then we have to get this right, getting Jesus right and what it means to carry that to other people. And Paul's encouraging them, saying, listen, it's not about whether you're introverted or extroverted, because God's going to overcome every bit of that. It's so the introverts who are going to unite separately, not together. The introverts don't get to go, I'm introverted, I'm out. The extroverts don't get to go, I'm extroverted, I'm taking over. That God goes, if you're introverted or extroverted, or you are brash and I have friends, I talked about this a couple weeks ago, they're from New York, I'm from New York, that's just how I am. No, God has done something different in you. And so when someone who can't take that type of personality, you've been transformed by God, and so you don't have to be that. Why? Because God's already done that in you. And yes, introvert who says you can't talk to people, God's already instilled in you every single bit of what you need to stand strong and to be able to talk to someone and love them. Why? Because you have the love and joy and movement of Jesus in your life. And so we don't get to make concessions on where our personality is or where our upbringing was or what we came from, because God has sent Jesus to cancel out all debts and to make us children of Him. And so if you don't get anything else, my prayer is that you hear this and that we will shout this from the rooftops, that we're nobodies telling everybody about somebody. And that somebody, capital S, is Jesus. That somebody is the one who took away the sins of the world, who transforms our lives from the inside out. that everything is pointed back to him. You can't walk from doorway to auditorium without seeing the name of Jesus a few times across the walls. Why? Because we care more about the name of Jesus than we do, because I have people ask, well, why don't you have a cross everywhere? Well, we do believe in the power and the movement of the cross, but the cross can be really a wrecking point for some people. I really want to point them to the life, beauty, and just amazement that Jesus is. And so we're going to put the name of Jesus everywhere, not electric chairs, because that would be the modern day equivalent. And we're going to point people to what is true about the movement of Jesus. And yes, he went to a cross, but he overcame that. And so we are going to be nobodies, because we are just people telling everybody we meet about somebody. But we have to condition ourselves, which is why that writer Paul, that guy who killed Christians and now is starting churches and movement, he shares even more with that church at Corinth. This is what he shares in that same passage. Do you not know that in a race, all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize. Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever. Therefore, I do not run like someone running aimlessly. This is like the Forrest Gump. I'm running, and just keeps running and then stops and goes, forgot why I was running. That we would not run aimlessly, continues on, or not fight like a boxer beating the air. He said, no. I strike a blow to my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached others, after I have lived out what I've been taught, or as we'd say it in modern day vernacular, that we would practice what we preach. After I do this, after I live this out, that I myself would not be disqualified. It was about this time last year that my wife and I, my wife comes, her background with genetics and hereditary stuff, there's heart stuff that goes on. And a couple years back, I experienced a mild heart attack, more due so to stress and things in life. And so we had been researching, like, how do we get better? How do we get healthy? How do we change our lifestyle? Because this is about the time where everybody's like, all right, let's get it together, because in January, I'm going to not live out your goals. Let's be honest. By the end of January, 90-something plus % of people aren't doing anything they said they were going to do. And so around this time last year, we said, all right, we want to do something different. But we're not just going to do something different. We want to live differently because we want to live differently. We're not going to do the same old thing. And so we decided that we were going to change the way that we lived health-wise. And in the process, we came across, my wife had done races before, and so she has them right behind the door of our bedroom. So if you open up our door and then you close it again, behind our door we have two little things. She has a rack up at top, and then I have a rack at bottom. Mine says, "May the course be with you," because geek. And if you don't get that reference, what's wrong with you? And so may the force be with you, Star Wars, light bulb. And so we have this, some of you are like, whatever. And we did this thing, and all of those, starting back then, we would sign up for the virtual races, where you sign up, you have to report your time, you get sent the race bin in the mail, and you race it whenever you're able to. And so not crazy stuff. I'm not running marathons, because you don't run like that unless you're being chased. But we run, and we do these races and things, and got it. And so we decided we're going to do at least one a month. We're going to do this together, and we're going to be healthy. But the reason that we started doing it was because we wanted to see a change. But we didn't start with the health change. We started with a spiritual one. And so that's why, in our family, we wake up early. We have our quiet time with God, because it doesn't benefit us at all. In the Bible, the writers talk about this. What benefits it that you train your body well, but you don't feed your soul? That's why I have this conversation with parents who are like, man, I want my kid to be an amazing athlete. I was like, an amazing athlete's awesome, but if they don't get to meet Jesus and follow him, a career, whatever, in a sport will not save their soul. And so I say, listen, Jesus is the most important thing. And so we started there, and everything began to follow. And one of the things that we realized in that is we started asking this question as we started sharing that with other people, and is spiritually our lives were changing to be even more healthy. Our question now is, how do we do that? And I'm not going to give you some mind-blowing new thing. Like if you came this morning like, I need the thing, like this new thing. You know what we really need more often than not is we need something that we already knew, that someone's already told us, and to actually do it. It's not, because let's face it, if I gave you like the mind-blowing thing, you'd go do that. But I know that you and I are much like my kids. Like my kids, if I went home and told them this amazing idea and all stuff, they'd do it. I want somebody to put their shoes away. But I've said that a billion times. My oldest will do it. The other two, I'm going to see Jesus before they put a shoe away. And so my thought in all of this is to be able to say, all right, how can you and I aim ourselves towards fostering a connection with the God creator of the universe so that we can be for others? And it's two simple things. The first one is condition quietly. That you're conditioning your life in spiritual disciplines in such a way that it overflows. But you're not doing it like, yo, look at me. Like you're not going to be in, no offense, but like, any of your friends that do CrossFit, if they do CrossFit. Because they will not shut up about it. Like they're like, yo, bro, do you even CrossFit? Yo, do you live? You're there? And I'm like, yeah, I get it. You do CrossFit, you're great, you're awesome. This is something that you would do quietly, and it's just an overflow of who you are. I love the way the writer shares this, and it's Paul writing to his friend Timothy. Have nothing to do with godless myths and old wives' tales. Rather, train yourself to be godly. Training yourself up in a way that connects back to faith. And these are both personal and interpersonal, done privately and then together. Personal is going home, reading your Bible, praying to God. Interpersonal, joining a small group, serving with other people in our community and here. Interpersonal is this, that our faith is better together, that I'm encouraged when there's a room of other people that I can learn with, sing with, connect with, be all these things, that it is an interpersonal piece. And these aren't just attitudes, these are activities. You're saying, well, I'm just going to have an attitude of being spiritual. No, that you would actually do the things that would train you. I don't just go, man, I'm going to have the attitude of an Olympic runner. No, I would need to train to actually be an Olympic runner, which isn't going to happen. I mean, maybe one day, who knows? Like, I'm old, it's not going to happen. Well, like one day, but we would say, I want to grow in my faith. And what are you doing practically to condition yourself in the inner man, the inner woman, to be someone who connects with God? The next piece is a little bit of a rub, and that is, all right, so we condition quietly, that we would love publicly. Now, I know the pushback on that from some believers would be, I've heard it said, when you love people that you're supposed to do it anonymously. And, don't let there's a passage that says, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. And you should do things and not draw attention to yourself. And I get that. And this is why we don't just pick a verse out of the Bible and wave it in the air, because you can, if you pick a verse just right, without context and without the entire scriptures, you can kind of make it want to say what you desire. And instead, so this is why when we take these pieces and move this way, we go, all right, what is God saying in its totality? Yes, there's going to be moments of generosity where you share with people and you don't have any attention. Nobody knows. It was done anonymously. But listen to this passage of Jesus himself. And so if anybody's the final word, it should be Jesus. This is what Jesus says. A new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another. Really listen to the clues and context of this. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, my followers, if you love one another. Do you know that this can't happen anonymously? Like, you can't do an anonymous love. Like, you can go out and love people. You can pay for somebody's bill. You can go, like, all these different ways. But the only way that someone knows through your love that you are his disciple is if you actually have connection with them and they know, and you get to unpack that a little more. You could love a lot of people, and as you love all those people, they could still spend eternity without Jesus. Unless we take it a step further to love one another so that they can see, hear, and understand that that love is rooted in who Jesus is and how he designed us, which is why I love the surprise that I get to share with you right now. You see, we get the opportunity here as a church to do all sorts of things. And every year around Christmas, we do an angel tree where there's a local elementary school where it's special needs students and their families. And we then set up the tree and we put the name tags out. And our staff is praying, like, God, please let all these tags get taken. Because, because there was a time at Forefront where we're like, can we pay somebody to fix the heat? Because life, it was the way it was. That God has done some amazing things. So we go, all right, we're going to put these tags out. Hopefully everybody takes it because, we don't have, as things come in, we've been sending out in the community, we don't have enough to be able to do all that. And people have shown up and done it. We've had to do. What I love is that because of your generosity, we've been able, and it's so cool, when they came back to us and said, we have 50 kids, we said, actually, because of the generosity of the people here at Forefront, we're going to be able to completely cover all them without ever even putting out a tree. Like, it's already covered. What else can we do? So, which is awesome. Now, I know the hesitant clap is, but I wanted to go buy some gifts. Hold your horses. You see, Aid Now was started a handful of years ago here through Forefront Church. It's an opportunity for us, an organization where we're able to connect with homeless and displaced families here in our city. There's roughly 800 to 900 kids in Virginia Beach Public School System who have either no home or living in hotels or living with relatives and they bounce around or living well below the poverty line. And social workers work with them. And we do an event with Aid Now every year called Project Jumpstart, where we're able to lavish them with love, all the things that they need. But Aid Now has tried doing different projects throughout the year, but it's tough. Plus, just wrangling all the kids together and what's able to do. And it's a lot to do. If you know a social worker, hug them, buy them dinner, lavish them with love, because that is a tough job. And they are the heroes in all of that. But every year we're able to see that event happen. There's hundreds of you who go help support that. And so when we saw all the generosity there and we go, okay, we will never stop at just where we've been. And so we contacted the social workers. One of our staff contacted the social workers, said, hey, and contacted the people through it now, what could we do with this? Said, hey, we have this thing that we do called Jingle Jam, which you've seen it on the announcement video, that some of you guys see it and don't sign up for stuff that you're supposed to sign up for. So sign up for it because it's awesome, especially if you have little kids, elementary age, it's awesome. It tells the story of Jesus in a practical way. They sing, they dance, they have fun. The kids lose their mind. We have tons of treats, but it's telling the story of why we do Christmas. And so you may have seen it advertised for that 6 p.m. slot for you guys. Well, we have a 3 p.m. slot where we have 100 kids that normally go to Aid Now for that Project Jumpstart, who them and their families will be in our building to be able to experience that very same thing. Doesn't stop there. You guys are going to be giving them the opportunity to have what they probably won't experience. So instead of impacting 50 kids in a special needs program at a school, your generosity has already covered that. Because you guys are amazing and you're trusting Jesus. I told myself last service I wasn't going to cry, and this service I'm going to tell myself and still do it anyways. And so out in the lobby, you saw that whole Christmas setup. And if you're a Scrooge about Christmas setup early, what's wrong with your heart? We're celebrating Jesus. You get a whole month for your birthday. Give Jesus 2, okay? And so out there's going to be bags. There's going to be instructions. And not only are those kids and their families and their moms and their dads and their siblings going to be sitting where you sit each and every week, but they're going to hear the story of Jesus. And then as they hear the story of Jesus, they're going to go out and they're going to have crafts and they're going to do all that stuff and they're going to take pictures with Santa. And then Santa's going to give them a gift. And that whole experience is going to get wrapped up in how much Jesus came and loved you right now. I don't know what else is being a church for our city than it is to care for those who don't have anything. And so if we run out of bags, we want you to still sign up and we'll figure out what you can do. Maybe it's greeting families at the door during Jingle Jam. Maybe it's parking cars. Maybe it's helping a bus arrive because they filled up a bus from a school and they needed to come here. Maybe it's just standing and smiling, saying, hey, or getting down on your knees and help making a craft with a family. Or maybe it's just being here and being present because, man, I just want to be a part. Because I don't know about you, but I have a lot. Like, I'm good, Like, if we go home, like, we have our smartphones and we're going to go home. Most of us are going to go eat a lunch at our house, or maybe we're really a top 1% of the world and we're going to go out to eat. Because, man, life's rough and we need to go out to eat. We have families who are wondering where their next meal is going to come from. And they're families that are with your kids, like here in Virginia Beach, surrounding schools, that your kids might not even know it's the kids sitting next to them, and they're going to be in this building. And I want them to know what the love of Jesus looks like. Not what they've heard, but what they could see. Because when a kid lights up with the love of Jesus, it changes a family dynamic. It changes a family's trajectory. And you have the opportunity to do that for another person. Question is, will you do it? Because that choice is yours. Will the rubber actually meet the road in your faith, or will it just be filling a seat? Because, man, I know what I want for Forefront. And I know I see it every day. And now this year we get to watch 150 or more kids get impacted with Jesus' love. Because you said yes. Thanks for tuning in to the Forefront Church video podcast. Our hope and prayer is that this has left you encouraged and challenged you in your faith. And you might have some questions and some ways that you want to figure this out, and we want to help with that. Head over to forefrontchurch.info, and there's a couple different ways that you can connect. Click the Connect tab and let us know how we can be praying for you, or a staff member can be contacting you this week. Maybe you have just been encouraged by this and want to support the ministry here at Forefront Church. You can click the Giving tab, as well as other tabs that are in there to help you along in your journey with God. And so we're thankful for you. Thanks for tuning in. And we cannot wait to see you again here online on the video podcast. We love you, and we'll see you then.